Welcome to the May 30th, 2019 video version of the Wagner Daily. My name is Rick Petticelli, and as usual every Wednesday night, this video replaces the written commentary portion of our report, where we cover broad market averages, open positions, and what we're looking at in terms of potential new setups for the rest of the week. And hopefully this video will give some insight as to how we look at charts, how we set up our charts, and just to offer a bit of a change of pace from our usual report. So let's get to the charts. Market closed red across the board. We did have some interesting technical action this week, especially on Wednesday. There was an undercut of a prior swing low in the S&P 400 with some decent reversal action. The price closed well off the lows, with a pretty steep downtrend line limiting the upside on any bounce so far. Let's skip over to IWM here, pretty much in the same boat, but again, steep downtrend line has undercut the last swing low. The break of the prior low is important here. It comes at about 8% or so off swing highs. Let's see if IWM and MDY can bottom out from here. There might be another dip lower with the next few days, but let's see if it can hold around this area through the end of the week. The S&P 500 undercut the 200-day MA at just around 6% off the highs, and we could see some more selling, maybe another dip below the 200, even possibly take out this swing low here. But overall, we're looking for the price action to hold around the 200-day MA and eventually work itself back above the 200 and eventually break this downtrend line as a sign that things are moving in the right direction. The Nasdaq Composite also touched the 200-day MA, undercut it, and closed back above. And just like the S&P 500, there could be another day or two of selling and then a reversal back above the 200, or even possibly a bounce from here that stalls around this downtrend line and then once again sells off below Wednesday's low. Anything is in play here, but what I do like is that the markets are coming into a big support level from the 200-day MA. So let's see if the bottoming out process can begin from here. In terms of current open positions, we're long Roku from around 87 here on this breakout. Had an ugly pullback on big volume the other day, but it's holding up so far in a pretty ugly market. So this is pretty darn good price action. Hopefully it can continue to hold above the 10-day MA. Twitter is nearing our stop, which is beneath the low of 513. It's sitting on top of the 10-week moving average. This is a half position. We're stopped out earlier on a break of the 20-day EMA a few weeks ago. SMAR, we're long from an entry near a 41 area, so we're up about 4 to 5%. Continues to look pretty darn good here in a bad market. Obviously, it's having some trouble staying above 43, but given how ugly market conditions are, it's held up as good as can be expected. MDB, we're long from a pullback to 142 right here on 517 after this big day up on 516. Today's close was below the 50-day MA, but volume wasn't above average. We're probably going to place a stop beneath today's low, minus a bit of wiggle room here, and see if it can hold up and work its way higher. NZS, which reports earnings after the close on Thursday, we did have a 10% buffer, and the recent pullback pretty much has taken our buffer down to 4.5%. We'll likely go with a tight stop beneath today's low for at least half the position, if not more, and may carry a very small position into earnings since we do have a close to a 5% buffer here. If we had a bigger profit buffer, then we could certainly hold the full position, but given the lack of profit buffer and weak market conditions, we think it's best to reduce our share size. All right, that's a wrap with current open positions. So in terms of what's next for us, our short-term plan for the most part is just to lay low and see how the market reacts to Wednesday's reversal action. The market remains in a clear downtrend. The bears are in control here, but hopefully the market can bottom out around this area and begin to work its way higher. put in some higher lows and eventually break this the short-term downtrend lines. On the weekly chart, we're just seeing a normal pullback here, so there's nothing too damaging right now. Of course, if some charts are going to be hit really hard during this correction, but for the most part, it's just normal price action. There was a powerful rally over 4 months without much of a pause. So to have a 2 to 3 month pause after such a big move and have it correct only maybe a third of what it went up is, I think, overall bullish behavior. Now, we're just talking about the price action as of today. Market conditions can change very quickly, so our analysis is only good for the day we put out a report. So in terms of potential setups that we're looking at, again, we're not really actively looking to establish new positions, but we want to have a watch list in place so that we're ready to go if when market conditions improve. As far as short setups, there's nothing out there right now. The market is already sold off from a recent bounce to the 50 MA, and it's at support from the 200 AMA or prior swing lows. So the risk-reward ratios don't favor the short side right now. But that being said, as we mentioned, we wouldn't be gung-ho to get long right now. But let's take a look at a few setups where we are monitoring. QTNT looking pretty good. Nice volume. Spikes on the move up. Cleared resistance at around 925, 950. We'll see if it can pull back here and then work its way higher. MVCR, another stock that is showing some relative strength here. After breaking its downtrend line, it's setting higher highs and higher lows above the 50-day MA. The 20 EMA is crossed above the 50. So if it can hold above this 50 area here, look for the price action to dip lower and then turn back up. And the chart here of NVCR is a good example of what we're looking for the averages to do. For example, we have the S&P 500 here. You know, if it chops around this area for a week or two and eventually breaks this downtrend line, that would be the sign we're looking for that conditions are beginning to change for the better. So same thing in NVCR, we have a downtrend line break that holds. We have higher highs, higher lows. So the downtrend line break is kind of like ground zero of where we're looking for the price action to improve. TW is a recent IPO that continues to trade near all-time highs. Look for the price action to chop around for another week or two, but eventually if it can break this downtrend line here, could be in play on the long side for a swing. Snap, SNAP, is looking pretty good also as it's put in a higher low here while the market's sold off, holding above the rising 50-day MA with the 20-day EMA starting to turn back above the 50, as is the 10 MA here. So I don't know if it's actionable right now, but it should be ready to go within the next few weeks if conditions improve. SE, which was a recent gap up on earnings, has pulled back into the 10-day MA. If it can hold above this 10-day MA, maybe clear Wednesday's high, trade back above the low of the gap up day, that could be a positive sign. Again, market conditions are pretty weak here, so I don't know if if it'll have enough power to push through Wednesday's high and continue to move higher. But if it can hold above the 10-day MA, above 28 over the next few days and possibly work its way higher above 29, maybe it can hold this 28 level and be in play down the road as conditions improve. And the last chart of the day is BYND. And it's not really actionable here for the trend trader. Maybe it's in play for a very short-term swing or a day trader. The fact that it's moving higher and breaking out while market conditions are so ugly is pretty amazing. So it has a ton of strength, but we'd like to see a few weeks of sideways chop first before we take a shot, but it certainly is something that should be on a watch list right now. Okay, so just a quick review. Market conditions remain pretty ugly. The bears are in control. However, there was some nice reversal action on Wednesday, especially given that the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite undercut the 200-day moving average intraday and then bounced back above into the close. However, we could still see some weakness in the short term as the market attempts to bottom out here. And there's nothing wrong with doing nothing. Sometimes there's just nothing out there that's really favorable in terms of reward to risk. And it's just best to sit tight and wait for conditions or new setups to develop. All right, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to learn more about our style of swing trading, you can head on over to morpheustrading.com/blog, where we have a ton of articles on the type of trading we do, a bunch of techniques for entries, exits, special ways we scan for stocks, just a ton of info. So take a look if you're interested. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.